All right, let's bring in a Stanley Cup champion, a Hurricanes legend, and my friend Erik Cole, who joins us on the Adam Gold Show. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks. How have you been?
I've been good. I mean, I got nothing going on. Would go to a playoff game. Did be a soccer dad? The whole thing. You know how this world works. Uh,
Yeah.
let me ask you about Game One, because while I thought Frederick Anderson was 100 times in a row the first star of the night, in retrospect, I was kind of glad that it was Evgeny Kuznetsov because I thought he could not have been more real in the post game where he said, "We got away with it tonight. Basically, we have to
Yeah.
be better." I thought that was a great dose of reality for everybody.
Yeah, I think I mean, as players, you always recognize when you're on your game and you're not. And obviously, I agree with him. I don't think the Hurricanes had their best stuff, whether it's just, all the energy and emotion that's in the building and the anticipation and the excitement of the moment was getting the better of them. But the Islanders came in and played well, and the Hurricanes were able to pull out a victory despite not having their best game. And I think Freddie was a big reason that they were able to take Game One.
Yeah, I think just getting through the second period at 1-1. I thought the first period, even though I thought the Islanders probably liked the way it was played better than Carolina did, I thought it was a relatively even period. Thought Carolina was better early and better at the end of the frame. Islanders kind of controlled the middle, but the second period, other than Brady, there were like 2 minutes of really good from the Canes. Brady Shea hit the inside of the left post from the left point. And then there were a couple of quick chances, but from, I don't know, maybe the 18-minute mark to the end, I mean, I thought New York controlled, and honestly, they had to be kicking themselves that they didn't have a lead. Maybe going to the third period, Carolina looked like kind of lucky to be 1-1. Maybe that gave them a little bit of kind of an energy boost because they certainly played better in the third.
Yeah, I think they were definitely fortunate to get out of the second tied 1-1. There just wasn't a lot of sustained pressure, and when your chances are just going to be one and done, and you're kind of sucking the life out of the building as the visiting team. That's exactly what you want to do on the road in the playoffs, is just try and meet that crowd as much as you can. So I mean, yeah, the Islanders played really well. I mean, they played really well down the stretch to get to this point in the playoffs, and so they are a real threat. They're a good team, and I think that the Hurricanes, should be able to regroup and be, refocused and ready to go for tonight's matchup.
Erik Cole is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The save Anderson made on Noah Dobson after the attempt goes off the post, which I brought the house down. It was just such an amazing, athletic, lucky, because we also have to credit, you have to be lucky sometimes. Dobson had a lot of net, and somehow Frederick Pilates, I don't know how he got up, from the seat of his pants, propelled himself up to make the save. But it looked like that energized the building, energized the crowd, and it was moments later when Steph Nason, I think might have been two shifts later, when Steph Nason made it 2-1 Carolina. And I don't think Carolina dominated from that point on, but they were certainly better.
Yeah, they were definitely better from that point on. But you'll see it constantly throughout the playoffs. A big save at one end, and it leads to a goal at the other end. It happens all the time, and it's those little momentum shifts like that. For me, that save, I think, was more important to Freddie than anyone else in the building.
Right.
I think that just him being there in that moment, making that save, hopefully that's a huge confidence boost for him that, hey, like I'm here, I'm in it. I'm playing really, really well right now. I'm feeling healthy, and just for his psyche as we move through the playoffs.
Erik Cole is joining us here. All right, I've already said it. I'm going to talk to Rod at 5:02 or something today. And the first question I'm going to ask him is, who's your goaltender? I anticipate the answer will be Anderson. If he says we're going with Piotr tonight, I will not say, are you nuts? Because Kochetkov's been great since the middle of December. Legitimately has been just an outstanding player. But if you were making the call, who would it be?
Freddie. 100% Freddie tonight. For me, the game for Piotr would be Game 3, the first one on the road. In a what's going to be a loud environment, and you throw him in there, and he's excited about the opportunity and the challenge, and you hope you steal Game 3 from them there. That would be how I would look at it and how I would run it. Plus, it gives it gives the Islanders a different look in goal. So, just when they maybe think that they're figuring something out on Freddie, that you got to worry about the other guy. I'm sure that in their dressing room they're preparing for both goaltenders, and they have scouting reports up for both guys on the board.
Rather than ask you who stood out, let me just ask you about Evgeny Kuznetsov, who I think hit the wall after coming back after the adrenaline wore off the first few games. Totally predictable. I know. I've used the example Justin Williams. I thought in the season that was ultimately shut down for COVID, I thought he came out in his first couple of games back. You could tell he had a lot of adrenaline, and then I thought there was a natural valley. Even though it was denied by people I talked to about that, I just thought it was natural, and I thought the same thing was going to happen to Kuznetsov. But I thought he started to come back at the end of the year, just didn't have any production. I thought he was good against the Islanders in Game 1. What did you see from him? How good can he be?
Well, I think that this is just a really great environment for him to, rejuvenate his career. I feel like he recognizes the opportunity. He's got some friends on the team. He's got respect for the coach and the organization. And I know the players are, excited to have him here. He's brought in a real positive energy to the group. I think, with that lull that you were talking about, you see it a lot, even with guys. You come back from injury, and for about 2 weeks you're bulletproof, but then the dog days kind of restart on you, and the grind kind of gets to you a little bit, and so it takes a little bit of time to kind of reacclimate your body to get used to what it's like to be at the rink day in, day out, with the travel and just everything that comes with being a pro. But I think he was really good in Game 1. I thought, the shot that he made was all world.
Yes.
There wasn't a lot of room up there. He lets there's a little bit of a moving screen. He lets the guy go by, take away the goalie's eyes. And when you see that from players that are, their heads up, pucks on their stick, and they're just, they're watching that front of the net. You see it a lot from some of the top defensemen in the league, where, they're just waiting to where that, they know that goalie's vision is taken away, and they snap a shot from the blue line and it finds its way into the net. That's, that to have that kind of poise and confidence with the puck speaks volumes.
It was just such a great shot, and it was so well timed as Steph Nason, who I thought was a huge player in the game. Obviously, the goal that made it 2-1, but that net front was so good. Let me ask you, because I think Andrei Svechnikov is Carolina's best power forward since number 26, Erik Cole, wore the Canes uniform. Expectations for him going into these playoffs, and he's got to be amped since he sat out last year.
Yeah, I think, from everybody's standpoint, the expectations for him are definitely very high. I think with that being said, the expectation and probably pressure that he's, put on himself is even greater. So,
yeah.
I'm sure that he wants to be, a difference maker and, wants to be a guy that, scores big goals, wins his battles, plays hard. He does all the things that a power forward should be doing. While he's a great player, in the regular season, the way that he can play and with his style, his ability, and his strength, he should be built to be, really dominant in playoffs. So I would look for him to factor in tonight. I think that, I feel like the entire team really, got their feet wet on Saturday night, and I would expect the team's going to have a much better game here tonight.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually thought, even though he wasn't on the score sheet, except I guess he was because he took the penalty, I didn't even hate the penalty. Normally, the penalties that Andrei has taken, I kind of dislike because they seem unnecessary. I just think it was kind of unfortunate, but I didn't hate it. I loved Andrei's game pretty much start to finish. If he just keeps playing like that, I think the points are going to come. Erik Cole?
Yeah, that's one thing. That can be difficult sometimes in the playoffs where you're not quite sure exactly what you're going to get out of the officiating, and like late in the season, sometimes with some of these big games down the stretch, they're letting a little bit more go, and they're kind of maybe turning a blind eye to certain plays that they don't necessarily do in December or January or something like that, and then the playoff hits, and I don't know if a memo comes down from the league or what, but you're just like, well, you've been letting that go for 2 months, and now you're going to call this, you got to try and get a beat on the officials. I'm sure Roddy's even got like scouting reports of the officials, like what the tendencies are of calls that they make and things like that. But you look at the games yesterday, and there's some plays that happen in the games yesterday that you are shaking your head at, that you're like, how is that not a penalty? So
yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, you're never quite sure, what you're going to get, but it's important to get a read on that, as soon as you can, and even just, talk to the officials, but, in a respectful manner. And I think, 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to get an understanding of where they're at.
Erik Cole, you're the best, man. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you at the rink.
Absolutely. Sounds good, bud.
Thanks, man. Erik Cole here on the Adam Gold Show. All right.